Welcome to the Embodiment podcast. This show is for you if you see the body as more than a brain taxi. It's for people interested in coming home to the body as a holistic aspect of who we are and how we live. Episodes contain practical tips, exercises you can take away, and interviews with embodiment specialists from around the world. I'm your host, Mark Walsh. This is a special podcast to promote a few things and to let you know how the podcast's going. So, launched it a few weeks ago now. I think we've got 8 podcasts up, got a few thousand downloads, which is pretty cool. So I've been happy about that. Let's see, I've recorded about 18. So there's a bit of a lag between them being recorded and them being uploading. The people doing the technical work on that, I've been surprised by how many I've thrown at them. I'm also trying to get a bit of a backlog for things like when I go on holiday and Christmas and stuff like that. We have got a ridiculous number of guests lined up, about 50 guests lined up till about January. All sorts of very cool people have agreed to do the podcast. I think what it is they heard a few and they went, yeah, this is good quality. You've got some good guests on, good people lined up. Seems to be a buzz about it. Seems to be something that people are wanting to do. So that's very cool. Basically, I can see myself doing this for a number of years. I'm imagining really committing to it for a number of years. In fact, what I'm seeing is that it's fun. It's enjoyable, talking to nice people. That's an easy way to put the word out. I had someone book on one of my courses recently as a result of his listening to the podcast. That wasn't my primary intention with the podcast, but it's kind of nice that was happening so soon. I've always believed in this thing that you put things out there, you give, you serve the community, and it does come back to you. So that's cool. Lots of very exciting people lined up. I've been reaching out. I don't want to name names in case I jinx them, but I've been reaching well outside of my own kind of communities. People have been recommending other people. People have have recommended me to other people. So it's really spreading. We've got sort of yoga people, dance people, martial arts people from martial arts I've never even done, some movement culture people, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of people coming on. So that's very cool. I appreciate everyone that's left me a review as well. Kind of hard to do iTunes reviews, it turns out. So thanks for your persistence, those of you who did that. And it does really help with the rankings. We're not yet in the new and noteworthy section of iTunes, but that's my hope that we can get in there. So that'd be very cool if we do, because it will really promote the podcast to a lot more people. So a few more reviews would be great if you're up for that. On Facebook, we launched to a Facebook page, and what we found is that it's not particularly high engagement levels on the page. It's to do with the way Facebook is set up. So we're moving that to a group. So by the time you get this, we'll probably have a group set up. So look out for that group on Facebook, and we can actually, I know people have been willing to answer questions and chat about it. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. I've seen the data of where you guys are so far. So a lot in the UK, as might be imagined. Canada and US not far behind. Russia not far behind. Australia, smattering in Italy and Spain, all over the world actually. So it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah, I think we're going to be on about, it's hard to say because it's hard to measure the exact numbers because not everyone actually downloads the podcast. I'd estimate that we've had several thousand people listen to episodes. My one, What is Embodiment, centering in Gary Carter's one, were the most popular so far. It's interesting to see the data, as again, though, you're sort of guessing to some extent with the stats. Nice to get your feedback. More is welcome. You can contact me through Facebook, contact me through any of my websites, in fact. Okay, what have we got coming up? So I don't want to do a lot of promotion on this podcast. I think it's better mostly to serve you guys, just put stuff out there. But, I know people like to hear about what's on. So every now and again, I'll do a little sort of update like this. We say how the podcast's going, talk about it more generally. And some courses. So the big one we got coming up is the Embodied Facilitator course. So that is a course for people that want to work with the body in more mainstream environments. They might be life coaches who want to work more with the body. People know that's important, but the pragmatic nuts and bolts of how do I do that safely and creatively? Or body people like dancers, martial artists, yoga teachers, body workers, improv people even, who say, you know what, this is great. I love the body. I love working with the body, but how do I do that in more mainstream environments? So if you go to the embodiedfacilitator.com, you'll see that. Previously, it's been a very much in-person course. We've still kept a large in-person element, but we've made it more accessible this year. We've got some online content, less trips to the UK if you're coming from abroad. It's the good news. You can do it in Russia, but it's as modules. As the main one I'm in charge of is the one in the UK and also in France this year. So 2 in-person modules, online content, loads of guest trainers. I think what makes it unique is we're looking at this principle-based, multiple perspective approach. What that means is you're not learning to do things like I do, and you're taking what you know to apply it in a way that will work in the environment that you want to work with creatively. So that's the EFC. We've done 5 years of it in the UK, 3 in Russia. Just come from the EFC reunion, which was in Holland. There was people from America and Kazakhstan and all over the world who came to that. So it's a really beautiful community of people. I think that's what people underestimate in EFC, is the community, is the power of the community in EFC. So, I absolutely love that community. We've taken it into a new form this year. Rachel Blackman, who I had on the podcast soon, is co-facilitating that with me, plus loads of guests. As I said, some really well-known people you'll see on the website. So yeah, check that out, embodiedfacilitator.com. We'll be closing sales fairly soon for the Embodied Yoga Principles teacher training in the UK. In Brighton, we've got another one in Belfast, another one in Moscow. So if you're interested in the sort of psychological side of yoga, getting deeper into the psychology of getting yoga off the mat, then check out those trainings. We've got one for trainers and coaches specifically, but mostly for yoga teachers. So you find those at embodiedyogaprinciples.com. That's embodiedyogaprinciples.com. They're the main events we've got going on. As I said, I won't plug of my own events too much on this podcast, but I know some people are interested, and every now and again, why not? So again, thank you early subscribers. I think this podcast is going to get really big, actually. I think it's going to get massive by the time we've had all the guests on that we've got lined up and they've put out on their network. So you guys are early adopters, and thanks for your support. Thanks for your reviews and ratings. I really appreciate that. And it's been a bit of an adventure. So I'm glad we're off to a good start. So thanks for your help. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to get more. If you'd like to help us build the Embodied Tribe, leave a review on iTunes or share this on your social media. If you're interested in training globally, sign up to receive the newsletter at embodiedfacilitator.com. Until next time, welcome home to the body.